Insisting on, welcome back to Big Mouth, and fancy seeing you here in June. A very welcome, my friends, and especially my enemies. Come in, sit down, no touching. I don't do the touching. I'm Mick Meanish. You can continue this conversation with me over on my Twitter at Movies TV Mad. Now, previously known as Smallville Mad, and that's how obsessed with this show I used to be. But the truth is, my obsession with this show, my obsession with Smallville, never stopped. But of course, the announcement that Tom Welling and Erica Durance will reprise their roles as Lois and Clark in the Arrowverse crossover, Crisis on Infinite Earths, has piqued my excitement yet again. I've only recently completed watching Season 7 after watching it from the beginning, right? And I just started Season 8, I think. But it's been really busy and I haven't really continued my Smallville binge. So, massive Smallville fan. Now, I did start doing these videos, Smallville, the saviour of Superman. I did one or two, but I stopped because the views weren't great. But I've decided I don't care about views. I love Smallville and I want my subscribers to share in my excitement. I want you to be so excited about this show that you start binging it. One or two people went over on Twitter and said, Mick, we started watching Smallville and we loved it. It's better than Arrowverse. It's better than any other superhero comic book show. And it is. It's the best. The story of a legend from the beginning. It's the tag that I created, not the WB or the CW. I created that. Amazing, right? The story of a legend from the beginning. Yes, Smallville is the story of Clark Kent from a teenage boy. It's the character-driven story about how Clark Kent goes from being a teenage farm boy to becoming the greatest superhero fictional character of all time, Superman. And they do it in 10 seasons so wonderfully well. The first season is very charming. It's a slow burn. You'll love it. It's like watching something that you've not seen for a very long time. And in this version of Smallville, Lex Luthor lives in Smallville in a mansion while running a Luthor Corp power plant, right? And it's absolutely fantastic. You've got Lana Lang, Clark Kent's, childhood sweetheart. It's all in the comics there for you. And in Season 4, Lois Lane arrives, a.k.a. Erica Durance, the best Lois Lane, wonderfully cast by Alfred Gough and Miles Miller. Let me just talk to you about Alfred Gough and Miles Miller, because by the time they finish with Season 7, because they didn't continue for the final 3 seasons, and you can tell, by the way, no offence to Kelly and Brian, wonderful showrunners, wonderful people, did a great job, did what they could, and of course, they're with the CW. And, of course, the CW are a law upon themselves, aren't they? And I think, in the end, there was even a kind of legal situation with Al Miles and Warner Brothers. And I think Al Miles won that litigation, actually. Congratulations, lads. You deserve it. It's your show. It may be DC's and Warner Brothers characters, but what you did with this show was amazing. And I think even Al Miles struggled with the CW. And they said themselves their relationship with the WB for the first 4 or 5 seasons of Smallville was wonderful. They gave them the freedom to do what they wanted. And you could tell with episodes like Memoria, where you actually see Lillian Luthor smother baby Julian with a pillow. And it's very disturbing, but it's very, very important for Lex Luthor's arc. So basically, every day we're going to be doing Smallville, the Saviour of Superman video. So this is episode 1. So every day. Now, how did this all start for me? I used to do these articles over on Facebook. Now, I don't have that Facebook anymore. I've got a new Facebook. But basically, what they used to let us do on Facebook was do notes. So we could write a monologue if we wanted. So I used to write this article called Smallville, the Saviour of Superman. And in the end, I think they stopped the notes on Facebook, which was a shame. But there was so many, and I'm sad that I can't read those out to you anymore because my passion for Smallville is massive. But let's read this article from Screen Rant because everyone's talking about Smallville. Everyone's talking about Tom Welling and Erica Durance returning or playing Clark and Lois, these Smallville versions of Clark and Lois on the Arrowverse crossover. What happened to Tom Welling's Superman after Smallville ended? It's been 8 years since Smallville ended, but now Tom Welling's Clark Kent is returning in Crisis on Infinite Earths. This year's Arrowverse crossover event, Smallville's Superman, was easily the most requested addition to the highly anticipated crossover, and fans have got their wish. Tom Welling will join Tyler Hoechlin and Brandon Routh as the third actor to play Superman in the event. I think probably, Smallville's Superman was one of the highest requested, but I think even higher than Tom is Rosenbaum returning as Lex Luthor. We do not know if that's going to happen. The respect I have for Michael as an actor and what he gave me as Lex Luthor, him and Alan Miles working closely together to make this such a wonderful, deep, dark, compelling story. And if he doesn't do it, I'll respect him. And if he does do it, I'll just love him for it. So let's have a look. The Superman prequel series was known for its no tights, no flights rule, which kept Clark from taking the mantle of Superman, wearing the costume and learning how to fly. Through 10 seasons, the series followed Clark as he went to high school, attended college briefly, very briefly, wasn't it, and got a job at the Daily Planet. The series also explored the relationships with Lois Lane, Lex Luthor, Oliver Queen, and introduced new characters to Superman lore, like Chloe Sullivan in the Smallville series finale. Oh, hang on, no. Let's say that, like Chloe Sullivan, full stop. In the Smallville series finale, Lex Luthor came back to life using a clone body. Tess Mercer was murdered by Lex, and Clark finally became Superman. Great stuff. All right, I do have some issues with the finale, but I don't want to be negative. I love Smallville. And Smallville reignited my love for Superman that started with Christopher Reeve in Superman the movie. I've always loved this character, but the flame was flickering. And Smallville not only reignited that flame for me and millions of people around the world, it got new people who would never have touched a superhero interested into this character. Though the TV series had come to an end, Smallville continued in another format, published by DC Comics. Smallville Season 11 kept the continuity of the show and picked up where Smallville left off. The comic book series lasted from 2012 to 2013 before being replaced by various miniseries that ended in 2015. The events of Smallville Season 11 have always been considered to be in canon with the show, as they should be. The comic book series began 6 months after Clark Kent became Superman, and a number of adventures and disasters followed. Here's what you need to know about Clark's future following the end of Smallville. Now, of course, this is important with Clark and Lois being in crisis. Clark Kent wasn't well received when he first burst onto the scene as Superman. Even though Clark had already been saving lives as the Blur, this was his first time going public with his heroics, so it took time for the public to accept him. After a while, Superman gained the confidence to confide in the President of the United States that he was an alien. One of the earliest challenges Superman faced in his superhero career was, of course, Lex Luthor. Though Lex had no memory of his friendship with Clark or anything, oh my God, I'm going to cry, just friendship with Clark, I mean, come on. Awesome, right? With Clark or anything that transpired in Smallville. He was back to his evil ways, forcing Clark to deal with his schemes in classic Superman fashion. Superman also became associated with another superhero team, the Green Lantern Corps. Interestingly, his membership in the team wasn't voluntary. A certain Green Lantern ring designed for use by Kryptonian was drawn to Clark. I never read that. How could I miss that? That's fucking awesome, isn't it? Shit. Once it was on his finger, he couldn't remove it. Basically, he was forcibly conscripted into the Green Lantern Corps. As a result, he had no choice. They should make this into a freaking movie. He had no choice but to learn how to use it. It was this storyline that introduced the John Stewart incarnation of Green Lantern to Smallville canon. John Stewart took Clark under his wing and began training him, while Clark learned how to use the ring from Stewart. He found himself swept into one of Stewart's battles with the Green Lantern villain Parallax. Superman and John Stewart managed to defeat Parallax, and in the aftermath of the battle, the Green Lantern Corps took the ring back and decided not to force anyone else into joining them. A great lesson as well. As Clark's adventures continued, he crossed paths with a number of DC Comics superheroes who were never able to appear on Smallville, such as Batman and Wonder Woman. Batman, for instance, was being used for Christopher Nolan's Dark Knight trilogy when Smallville was still on the air. The series wasn't able to use him, but Smallville Season 11, believe me, they tried. Smallville Season 11 as a comic book had no such restrictions. Batman finally crossed paths with Superman when the Cape Crusader came to Metropolis on a hunt for his parents' killer. He lured Superman into a fight as a distraction so that his partner, Nightwing, Barbara Gordon, could complete Batman's mission for him. However, her attempts to break a man out of prison were thwarted by Superman's ally. Green Arrow both flights went on for a while, but ended when Superman and Batman agreed to a truce. The four heroes teamed up to battle enemies from Batman's Rogues Gallery, including Mr. Freeze. Like other versions of the characters, Smallville's Superman and Batman didn't get along, but over time learned to understand each other's worldviews. This show should come back as the Superman series. I'm telling you, this is the untold story. This would complete the Smallville arc. I know they're not going to do it. I mean, I'd want Alan Miles totally involved with it, and I'd say it wouldn't happen without their permission because, Miller Goth Inc. are heavily involved with Smallville and have a lot of rights, thankfully, because they're the ones who made Smallville, created Smallville. They didn't create the name, they created the show, they created the premise. Geniuses, legends, I love them. They're an inspiration to me, who is a very unknown creative, by the way, but, I love them. So, yeah. So where are we? I can't even analyse. Batman began to serve as... Like other versions of the character Smallville Superman, Batman didn't get along, but over time learned to understand others' worldviews. After Superman and Batman became allies, Batman began to serve as a key recurring character in later Smallville stories. He even agreed to become a part-time member of the Smallville's Justice League, awesome, a team that Clark took command of in Season 8, if you remember rightly. Although, I don't know who was in charge in Season 8. Was it Oliver or was it Clark? And, some of the stuff with Oliver and Clark when they didn't agree what was to be done with Davies Bloom and Doomsday was awesome. And then that lesson was learnt and they let Clark take control in the fight against Zod in the Season 9 finale. Great. But Smallville's fucking awesome. It's as simple as that. I won't hear a word said against it. It had its flaws, but as I said in another video about Smallville the other day, anything made by human hands is going to be flawed, and that's the way it should be. That's part of the art's charm. Clark became embroiled in a battle with the Monitors, who were a threat to the entire universe. You see, this is all going to be interlinked. This is going to be interlinked with the crossover. I'm even more excited now. The Monitors believed that in order to restore order, they would first have to erase all of existence. In this storyline, Clark had to deal with Smallville Season 11's take on Crisis on Infinite Earths. Very interesting. This is all going to be connected, which saw him interacting with different characters from the various timelines. The Monitors were a main antagonist of the whole series, as their presence formed an overarching plot that had been building since the beginning of the series and came to a head in Smallville continuity. The final miniseries in Smallville canon. You understand I'm reading about the comic books now, not the show. If you're saying, well, this never happened, that would have been awesome, why didn't that happen? In a Smallville... Listen to me. I'd love Berlanti and Gotham Miller to get together and do a Superman continuation of the Smallville saga. With Clark's history on the Smallville show, it would be so compelling, so emotional. The guest stars you could bring. Look, this is the only Superman TV show I want to see. Please, Tom, reconsider putting the suit on, man. You make us so happy. It is regular bloody work. It's money for you. We don't care if you don't like Superman. We just want to see it. This would be amazing. But let's see. Let's not get greedy. They're coming back on the crossover. That should be enough for now. Thank you, Tom. Thank you, Erica. And hopefully, thank you a lot more people who hopefully will be recurring their roles from Smallville. Although this is becoming the Smallville takeover, but who gives a shit, right? I mean, Smallville is so superior to Arrowverse anyway. Sorry, Berlanti. Sorry, everyone else involved. It is true. It all started when the Monitors destroyed Earth 2 and followed its only survivor, Earth 2's Chloe, to Earth 1 to beat the Monitors. This is awesome. Clark had to put aside his differences with Lex Luthor and form an alliance. Why didn't I read these comics? And form an alliance. Clark called in nearly every ally he ever had, which included forgotten characters from past Smallville episodes, as well as the new heroes from the comic. Everyone from Batman, Wonder Woman, the Justice League, the Green Lanterns, the legions of superheroes, to the Teen Titans were on hand for Superman's last stand against the Monitors. Together, Superman led the heroes to victory. Why didn't I read this. I'm so pissed off. I'm going on Amazon. I don't know where I can get these comics. If you could comment down below, listen, this is going to be great. Doing these Smallville, the Saviour of Superman videos, I can't wait. How the Arrowverse chooses to incorporate Clark's post-Smallville history remains to be seen. They're going to include it. Regardless, the original report regarding Tom Welling's involvement in Crisis on Infinite Earths has revealed that the crossover will indeed address what Clark has been up to in the last 8 years. Before, right, I was saying stuff like, I don't trust he's creative. He's probably just going to do a cameo. I'm getting more and more excited because I love Superman. I'm a geek. I love Smallville. I want to see the best version of Superman coming out. Obviously, there's Christopher Reeve. He's awesome. Henry Cavill's awesome. I'm obsessed with Smallville. You understand? I just love Superman, right? And what Al Miles and Kelly and Brian did, and everyone involved in this show, Holly Harold is a name drop I have to give. She wrote some wonderful episodes, and if you watch the season 4 finale, when Clark's when they all throw their hats in the air and they get their diplomas, you hear the name Holly Harold. Great name drop, by the way, and I think a few names were dropped on that episode. You see, I'm obsessed. Yeah, so that's it, basically. So it is very, very exciting. Very exciting. There is not one Smallville fan in the world right now who isn't excited. So, Mick, why are you going to be calling these videos, and why did you call the articles you used to do Smallville, the saviour of Superman? We don't think Smallville's the saviour of Superman. You're talking crap, Mick. Smallville did save Superman. It did. And let me explain to you why before I sign off for today's episode. When Smallville came out, the comics were doing okay, but there was nothing in live action media. There are a few, faulted events like Tim Burton's Superman Lives. When I first heard Smallville was coming out, I wasn't happy. I went, why are they doing another Superboy? I want an epic, awesome Superman movie. I did. And then I watched the first episode. Then the second episode. And as I say, the charm of season 1. Then I see this bald guy in camera. Please make it be Lex. Please make it be Lex. It's Lex Luthor. This is amazing. Lex Luthor's living in Smallville and he starts off being Clark's friend. Come on, those iconic words in the barn in that episode. Trust me, Clark, our friendship will be the stuff of legend. I cried. I want to cry now when I hear it. Smallville is the GOAT. Smallville is amazing. And in these daily episodes, Smallville, the saviour of Superman, I will share with you my Smallville passion, my Smallville knowledge. I will keep on blowing smoke up Al Miles' backside for the end of time, and I don't care. And I hope they come in and watch the episodes as well. I love Smallville, and even if you guys don't watch these videos, it's very therapeutic for me to talk about my love for this show because it is one of my favourite shows of all time. Thank you very much. I shall see you tomorrow for another episode. This is going to be fun.